and today I am going to review the Jane Austen Festival in Bath. So where to begin? The Jane Austen Festival in Bath is hosted by the Jane Austen Society, and it takes place in September every year. Jane obviously lived in Bath for a while, and it's also a beautiful Regency Georgian town, so it's a perfect location to have a festival like this. There is a second Jane Austen Festival in the UK, which is held in Chawton, where Jane Austen lived and published a lot of her work. But this is perhaps the more famous one, and it includes lots of the things you might regularly expect. So there's promenades, costumes, shopping, everything galore. So I went this year, 2019. It was my first year going, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. I got quite a lot of tickets for the different events, so I managed to attend quite a lot, but I only went for the first weekend, which is kind of when the main big activities are on. It's actually a week-long festival encompassing the weekends at both ends, so I didn't get to see all of it, so just bear that in mind when I'm reviewing. It's just the first weekend that I'm going to be reviewing. So let's just get right onto it. So on the Friday night I turned up. There is actually a pre-event, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get tickets to that. But Bath's beautiful, so I just wandered around Bath and went for some food and had a nice time. I was actually staying in a hostel, which is the first time I've stayed in one of the bunk bed rooms that, you know, isn't an individual room for myself. So it was a bit of a unique learning experience, but in a positive way, because I met two other girls there who were going to the Jane Austen Festival, so that was pretty awesome. And one of them was one of the photographers for the reenactment group, so I got some really good photographs. If only I could remember her name, then I could have contacted her and got them, but never mind. So the festival really started for me on the Saturday, and I started the event off by going to the breakfast event. Now this was called a very private public breakfast, and it was held at someone's house, which was pretty cool because it felt really intimate, but also it was a beautiful Georgian mansion, so we got to see inside one of those, which was also pretty awesome. So she started off by giving us a little bit of a talk about the history of breakfast in the Regency period, because it was one of the main sociable meals of the day and would be taken at about 10 o'clock. And she went through the sort of things that would have been eaten and the etiquette and manners of the time that's associated with breakfast. And then we actually got to eat some breakfast. It was laid out really beautifully, and we got to sit around and chat, and it was really nice to meet some people, because then I saw them throughout the rest of the day and could say hi to them, and that was really nice. One thing I will say before I go much further is not compulsory to dress up, and there were people there who did not dress up, but it adds so much more to your experience if you dress up, even if you're not going to be involved in the costume parade, which I'll talk about in a minute. I wasn't, but I still really enjoyed being dressed up. It meant that when I went to the breakfast events and things like that, I could take beautiful photos, and I just felt part of the community, and it just added a bit more to the experience for me. I'm going to be doing loads of different tutorials on how to make really simple Regency costumes. This was my costume. I made it really quickly, and I made it mostly by adapting things. There will be lots of different tutorials to look forward to, and as they come along I will link them up above so that you can create a Regency outfit all of your own. We'd had our breakfast, it was really delicious, and then we walked down the hill into town to join the costumed parade. Now I actually wasn't taking part in the costumed parade, I just wanted to watch it, but I went to the start point and wandered around and got opportunities to see everyone in their costumes, got some people to take some photos of me, which is always great fun, and just generally really enjoyed the atmosphere. There were people dancing, there was music playing, it was great fun. And then I made sure I left in plenty of time to get a really good spot for the parade. Now I actually went to 3 different locations to watch the parade at different moments. So I saw it right at the beginning, and then I went on the main street, and then I went to the end as well. So that was really good fun because I got to see various different things, but it doesn't really matter where you go to watch it, but I would get a good spot to watch the whole thing because it's great. So basically I keep talking about this parade, but I haven't really explained what it is, and basically anyone who is dressed up can join the parade. You pay for a ticket. They have the Fusiliers, they have the soldiers, So they're doing their reenactment camp for the whole weekend, but basically they're leading the parade, they play their music, they march along and are followed by everybody in costume basically. And there's a town crier, and there were young children who were part of a folk dance group, and then there was just everyone else generally in costume. And it was great fun seeing all these beautiful costumes, seeing everybody go past. Everyone was having so much fun, waving and just getting in the spirit. It was great. And then they ended at Parade Park, which you can pay a £1, £2 fee to get into. It's a beautiful garden, a beautiful park, lovely spot to go and have your lunch. So that's what I did. I went and had a picnic there and just got to mill around generally. There's more dancing, some more music, some more people taking photos, and it was just generally really, really nice. Really nice place to have your lunch, really nice place to end up, and everyone can stand on the bridge and see down and see into all the beautiful costumed people milling around, which is also a great experience. If you don't want to pay to go into the park, or you're a bit shy about approaching people, just go and have a look. Now, this is when I was informed, and this is a really important fact, that there is a guy in the UK who lives in Regency clothing all the time. I'm not sure what his name is, but I shall put it up somewhere once I know. And he was at the festival and was kind of like a minor celebrity, and one of the girls that I was with was low past stalking him to get a photo because he's kind of cool. It's really cool, and I did want to talk to him about like what it's like to live in Regency clothing all the time, because I can't imagine it's comfortable. I was absolutely sweating in my costume, and I was wearing a female costume, so I had lovely big skirts on that you could waft around and get a bit of breeze going. I wasn't wearing breeches and full boots and things. I actually did bump into him later, and I had a brief conversation with him, and he's really, really lovely. But please don't stalk people. Okay, next. So we've had breakfast, we've watched the parade, and now we've had our lunch in the park. So next I went to the fair. So this is a little market that they have of different reenactors and costumiers selling their merchandise. Now this is where I'm going to get a little salty, because this bit kind of disappointed me a little bit. Please don't hate me. It was beautiful, don't get me wrong. It was just small. I think basically what had happened is they'd been really selective with the traders that they picked, which is great, but it meant that all the traders that they picked were producing really good quality stuff that was in the hundreds of pounds. And as someone who's a newbie, and also someone who's broke most of the time, I couldn't really afford anything, so it was great to look, but I had sort of hoped that there would be lots of stalls where I could grab little bits and pieces and put together all sorts of things, and I don't know, make something in the future, or get some little bits and pieces that I could have as a little prop. I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford one of the big bonnets or whatever, but I thought they might have like a £40 bonnet or something that I might be able to buy, and then buy a couple of feathers and jazz it up a bit. But unfortunately there wasn't much like that. There were some beautiful bonnets, some beautiful bonnets, there were some beautiful why did I go to say that again when I don't even know what the word is? Parasols. Lovely stuff, and I looked at some of them for so long and was trying to justify buying them, but they were all quite a lot of money. Now, there were a lot of Americans there who were very, very pleased, because in America this stuff is even more money. So for them it was a really good deal. And actually, if you were a reenactor, or you did Jane Austen or Regency period a lot, they would be worthwhile. The only thing for me is that I try and cover a wide range of periods rather than just Regency, so I can't really justify spending £400 on a Regency hat if I'm only going to use it for Regency. So that's my only bitterness. What I will say is I had such a great time looking for all these things. I'm now following a lot of these companies on their social media and their websites, because they just make some beautiful products, and maybe one day I can afford them. We'll see. And I will say, although I've moaned about nothing being affordable, there were a few stalls there that had some really, really nice bits and pieces, and in particular there were some really good craft stalls there, so I was able to buy some feathers and some trim and various different things that I will incorporate into costumes at a later date. At this point I'm a little bit tired, it's like 3 o'clock, so I was in the fair for a very long time. But I can't really decide what to do. I've got another event at 4 o'clock, so I go for a coffee at Waterstones in my Phil Regency outfit. Yeah. So my next event is a talk back at the original house that I had the breakfast event at, with the same lady. Only this time she's talking about what people keep in their reticules. If you don't know what a reticule is, I'm going to have to get my nail out. This is a reticule. So it's basically just like a handbag, Regency version of a handbag. They went from having pockets which you tied underneath your dress to having reticules which you carried outside on your wrist to having handbags. I did make this one myself. I know I'm wearing it like a glove now, but it's actually pretty cute. I'm quite pleased with it, and I will be using it for lots of balls and things because it's the perfect size to keep like proper Regency things in, like a phone. Actually, there's a TV show that I watch that they refer to it as a personal portrait maker, and that's what I'm going to refer to my phone as from now on. So in here you can just keep your purse and your personal portrait maker. And basically the talk was all about what women would have kept in their bags or on their person, including toilets, including not a lot of money because most people paid by accounts, and we got to look at some historic examples of reticules. Now this is one of the talks that I really, really wanted to go to, and it did not disappoint. It was so interesting, and the woman who was giving it also was very good at talking about how we might be able to get modern examples and make them look historic, and was talking a lot about things that were currently in fashion that had been borrowed from historic examples of reticules. So that was really helpful as a reenactor, as someone who wants to sort of appropriate modern things into the past. That was really useful advice and tips to get to know. And it was also really cool just to know what women kept in their handbags. I've wondered for such a long time, and now I have the answer. It's a toilet. Seriously, if you're wondering what the toilet thing is, I'll put a picture. So after the talk we had scones downstairs, once again, beautiful, I love a good scone. Then I walked back into town, going past a few other shops, got a few other bits and pieces from mainly charity shops, and I went back to my hotel, had a shower, got changed, took my costume off because it was sweaty, and then I went out for my evening meal that evening. My evening meal had nothing to do with the Jane Austen Festival. They actually have a ball in the evening that includes food and dancing and all sorts. It looks like great fun. Unfortunately, the tickets had sold out by the time that I looked at it. I think they sell out very, very quickly. So if you want to go to the ball, which I would recommend, then buy your tickets early. They also have some later on in the week and various other events in the evening. So don't worry if you miss out. There's lots more you can do, and I will talk more about dancing when we get to Monday. Basically, because I wasn't going to the ball, I went to Sally Lunn's instead, which is a historic restaurant, one of the oldest places in Bath, and is famous for its famous Sally Lunn bun. I brought one home. It was yummy. Yes, the house dates to 1482. And you get to sit in a period dining room. Basically, in the 1700s, legend has it that Sally Lunn, who is a refugee, comes over to Bath and makes these gorgeous buns, and they are gorgeous, and everyone goes crazy. And basically, I had a savoury meal that incorporated this bun and a sweet meal that incorporated this bun, and it was glorious. It was so tasty, and I just want to take a moment to recommend this place because it's great, and go for an evening meal. You can book so you don't have to stand in the long queues, and it's just an experience. And then I ended the evening by going to a magic bar. Don't ask. And basically that was kind of all I did for the festival over the weekend. I would say that that's perhaps another disadvantage of the festival. There didn't seem to be much unique stuff going on the Sunday. There was a repeat of the breakfast event and a repeat of the reticule event, which, you know, you could have booked onto, but I did them both on the Saturday. The reenactments are still going, and I did go and have a brief look at them. And there are some other walking tours and things like that, but I don't know, I just didn't fancy anything, so I didn't book on anything, and instead I went to the Fashion Museum in Bath, which is amazing. And if you want to see some more stuff on that, my full vlog on what happened over the whole weekend will be up on Tuesday, and I will link it somewhere in the description and on a card so you can see what the Fashion Museum is like in Bath, and what Bath Abbey is like, and what the Magic Bar was like, and generally listen to me witter on about things. But back to the festival, which is what we're here for. I did do more stuff on Monday. Now, Monday was the main thing that I was going for because, as you know, because you're on my channel, I'm a historic dance teacher. So on the Monday, they had 2 historic dance workshops and a historic dance performance by the Jane Austen dancers. Now, they are renowned for being very, very talented, very well known in the dance world. It's just being really, really good. And I can see why. They were amazing. They did this show in the evening, which was an hour and a half of pure dancing with a bit of talking in between, and it was narrated. It was really, really well put together. But how do you remember an hour and a half of Regency dances? But anyway, that's getting too far into the future. Let's start at the beginning, which was a beginners workshop. And this was held at the Assembly Rooms, which was brilliant location, and a great opportunity to see the Assembly Rooms if you haven't been to the Fashion Museum the day before. And the theme of the day was dance from Jane Austen, but specifically from movie and TV adaptations of Jane Austen's novels. So all the dances they were teaching us are real Regency dances, but the ones that have been incorporated into the movies, the films, etc. So they had a beginners workshop in the morning and a advanced workshop in the afternoon. Now, the beginners workshop was set for beginners. I wouldn't consider myself a beginner, but I still had a really good time because I hadn't learned any of these dances before. Well, that's a lie. I hadn't learned most of these dances before, and I kind of just wanted to see how they taught with such a large group of people. And it was also really good because if you do the beginners class, then you can go to the advanced class. It's not really an advanced class, it's just, you know, you need to have some semblance of basic patterns and just be clued in a little bit more. So if you've done the beginners class in the morning, you can definitely go to the advanced class in the afternoon. If you've done a little bit of dancing before, you can go to the advanced class in the afternoon, or just do both, because they were both awesome. Yes, so we learned loads of dances. The Jane Austen dancers were helping us out and joining groups to make up numbers, but also to help out anyone who was struggling or to clarify some points, because obviously the teachers at the front teaching everybody, and there was a lot of people there. So it was great because they walk you through the dance. You go through the dance a couple of times walking through, adding things on each time, and then you walk through the whole dance, and then you get to dance it to the music in the assembly rooms. That's why I love historic dance. I love the fact that you can never have danced 2 minutes ago and now be dancing a whole dance. Okay, maybe more like 5-10 minutes, but you can do it. So if you get an opportunity to do any dancing at the Jane Austen Festival, I would highly recommend it. I mean, I would highly recommend doing historic dance full stop, but you know, if you're going to the Jane Austen Festival. They actually also teach a beginner's guide to dancing before the ball. So if you're going to the ball in the evening, you can sign up to that for a small extra fee and learn some of the dances, or at least the steps and things like that, before you go to the ball, so you're not completely lost. And the final event that I went to is this narrated performance. It was brilliant. As I said, they did an hour and a half of dancing, all narrated with extracts of Jane's diaries or letters, and with news of the time and little enacted scenes from some of her novels. And it was just really good fun, a really great way to end my weekend of Regency wonder. So I know I didn't go to an awful lot of the Jane Austen Festival, but I would say I had a really, really good time. I would say the first weekend is definitely the weekend to go because you get the costume parade, you get the fair, and you get the ball, all of which aren't on later on in the week, although there is another masked ball towards the end of the week. I would say it doesn't matter how much you book onto, but if you really want to book onto certain things, make sure that you do it early. And also it's definitely worth ringing up the Bath box office and putting your name on a waiting list, because that's how I got into the breakfast event, just by putting my name on a waiting list, and luckily a ticket came up. So it's definitely worth your money. I really had a good time. I would definitely recommend dressing up if you can. I would definitely recommend the first weekend if you can. Go to all the dancing things, go to the ball, do as much as you can, and when you're not doing stuff directly related to the Jane Austen Festival, really just go and enjoy Bath. There's a Jane Austen Centre, there's the Fashion Museum, you can get into the assembly rooms for free, you could go to the pump rooms and try the spring water, which made Bath so famous as a spa town in the Regency period. Basically, just it's the perfect location for it. I can't say it enough. It is such a good location. I am definitely going to the one in Chawton next year though. This one got me super excited, and I really fancy trying out the one in Chawton. I loved Chawton when I went there. I've been to Jane Austen's house before and had a great time, so I'd love to go and explore that area a bit more. So yes, I think that's everything I wanted to say. I hope this video was reasonably helpful. It wasn't so much a review as more just my experience, but hopefully it was entertaining. If you found it particularly entertaining, then my full vlog will be up on Tuesday if I get it edited in time. And that will just include some more of my wittering. Also, I will put a bit in the end of all the things that I bought if you're interested in that. I know some people are. So I post videos every Thursday and occasional Tuesdays. Be sure to subscribe, like and comment down below about maybe your favourite Jane Austen film, your favourite Jane Austen experience, or if you went to the festival what you liked, or I don't know, what you'd like to see at a festival, or I don't know, just say hi. Until next time, keep dancing. So of course I've got to add something onto my wall of wonder. So I've actually decided, because it's dance related and because it was one of my favourite things, and just generally because I'm a bit of a fangirl, that I'm going to put this card from the Jane Austen dancers. It's really cute, it's got them dancing in a beautiful room, and it will just remind me of all the fun dancing experience that I got to do this time. Perfect.